Good morning, everyone. My name is Anne-Marie Ban. Today is June the 3rd. It's the first trading day of the month, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. I've started with the YM today because its move was very dramatic on Friday. We had this line in the sand, 38,137, that would have been a great support zone to bounce off of if we got it. Now remember, when you come into trading and you go, oh, I missed that, and it began to move, just look at where the higher supports are, right? If you go, well, maybe I can get in at 227, and I'll just watch it very closely. So the intraday trader needs to decide, am I going to take a risk and buy the floor when I see things trying to hold? A lot of times the answer is yes, if you've got at least two candlesticks moving, and you can see that pressure building on tighter candlestick formations. And so the Dow moved very differently to the NQ and the ES, and we'll see that, right? And why is that? It's because the Dow fell further than all of them, and so it came into its support zones well before them. And so it was sort of leading the way down, and it's leading the way up. Why? You know what? We're still the only game in town. We have the strongest currency. Our markets are doing very well. People are going to buy the dip. Foreign divestment moves in through the Dow. We want to watch that for the edges. So what do we want to say today? What are we trying to go through? Take a look at this. On Friday, I might have put the number up 38,913. I don't know what day I put it up. It would have been no later than Friday, because my thought is, all right, what do? We move, remember, I say 2 to 3 candles to the left, and then we see where price action's going. We'll have a look at what happened in the pre-market tonight. Top is the hold of this candle. So right now, we're still sitting in this range. So what's to do? Listen, this is a two-way market, how Anthony Crudele terms it, a two-way market that says you can either sell or buy. So what do you want to do? Well, you want to find the area of least risk and most reliability for continuation in the direction of your trade. So what would that be? Well, I would jam up into this candlestick formation. I would like to move this. I'm going to remove this alert. Yes. And let me see. Remove the ray. And then let's see if it lets me move the line. Always operator error here. Let me clone this line and move it up into the edge of that one. All right, so it's going to look a lot like this for the topping edge, and that number is 39,145. That's going to be the line that we watch for this particular price action to stall out. Is it a buy the dip? Well, yes, it is. This huge area. But the ideal zone is at the bottom near 38,213, right? If we can get up 38,316 and we want to look for support, also a nice clean area that potentially will work very well over the top of the wick. What do I expect today? Sideways. We've got ISM, we've got PMI, we've got construction spending, and we're in the two-week window for the next Fed meeting. So I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't. Today's a sideways day. Hold on for ideal pricing formations, because as John says, listen, if we're in range and in value of the prior day's prices, we can wait for opportunities to give us a direction out into resistance or a direction down into support. The key levels to watch are going to be pre-market lows today. Let's go to the NQ. So notice 3 days, but the move in the NQ was so dramatic. It was insane, absolutely insane. Now, if you'll notice from Fridays, and I really want you to dig in and go, hey, let me see if she's actually tracking this the way we need to track it and buy off of these zones. Super important. You'll see that we're running this range. That's what the market's doing right now. And it came into the middle point of this channel that we have, dipped below into the edges near all of these guys, stalling out at about 18,225-ish, and then boom, off it ran and lifted off of those edges. Now, there's a lot of gamma flow here that brought traders in, but it's also old resistance, new support. You're going to see this replicated inside of the options flow because that's where they're pulling their numbers from, right? They're going to pull their numbers from there, and we'll see that as we particularly get into the ES, where the put wall moved from 5250 all the way to 5200. Is that right? Or 5350 all the way to 5300. I can't remember those numbers. Forget it. So what do we want to look for today? Where are we? At the top of Friday's edge. What is that? It is clearly resistance. What are traders going to do at this 18,685? The sellers are going to try and come in and jam the buyers. Whoever wins here is going to have the first floor of action in the market. My thought is sellers first. After that, the buyers will come in near the floor. So what am I looking for? Again, range formation, but I suspect that the traders who are staring down this price action do not want to lose this number near 18,530. They simply do not, because if they do, it's going to send them right down into this pocket near 18,300 again. And that is going to define a fair bit of stagnation or weakness. Two-way market, trend sideways, momentum flat. We're sitting right on the edge. Short here, 15, 20 points max of resistance if you take the short at 685. If you take the long at 550, 20 points at 530, 18,530 is going to give you your resistance, right? Today is going to be a wee bit tricky and tentative. It's going to be tentative because the traders do not understand, or they are not clear on what it is that the other traders are going to do in this mess. Okay, take a look at the ES. 5,200 was the right number I was thinking of. So 5,200 put wall. Remember, if you look at Mentor Q, which I absolutely recommend their pro product. They are absolutely fantastic for gamma lines. If you look at their formations, 5,200 was where the put wall was sitting. And remember this, a put wall acts as resistance as the first pass. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that it pushes price away from it. So if we come down into 5,200, price will go away from it the closer it gets because they're defending the wall, and so they're going to push price up. And that caused an absolute reversal. We went from negative gamma flow to positive gamma flow in that instant, and just unbelievable price action. So where are we going? Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. Take a look. 53.25 is the upside pressure to 53.45. That's what I'm thinking. We are above the high of the prior day. So it tells us that buyers are in a little bit of control. Now here's the thing. Who's going to come in here at the first pass? Well, sellers are going to try and shove it down underneath the close of Friday, which was 52.99. All right? If they come in, test 52.99 and hold it, we're going to have price acceptance up into that 53.40. If it does not, if we get into 53.07, we start looking weak and then we lose 52.90, bounce and can't get up over 53.07, we're going to fade right back down into 52.71. What is my suspicion? That we fade. Why? What is the slope? Flat. What is momentum? Flat. If that's the case, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at sideways undercurrents and sideways pressure. Does that mean you can't go long? Of course not. If it comes into 52.84, begins to bounce, that's where you're going to like it. Now, do you see the high volume candle? It's right here, 53.25. That's going to be my suspicion for the high of today. Or if it breaks into 53.40, resistance, 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 all the way across. There are going to be a lot of sellers there. Here's the thing. If they get there and they start moving out of that 53.45, do not add to your shorts because you're going to get your face ripped off. It's going to run 20, 30, 40 points before it collapses again into that 53.70 area, 53.72. Okay? That's what we're looking at there. Let's go to SPY. I know I have spent a long time on this video, but I want you to see mechanical flow. Why do I put these videos out every single morning for us to watch and to get? I want to teach mechanical flow so that you feel like you can understand what the crowd is doing. Listen, all psychological analysis everywhere says it's much easier to predict crowd flow than individual flow. Why? Because imagine a sea of people. I don't know if any of you saw my video or my snapshot of coming into the Charlotte airport, because I'm, again, with my mom who's going through hospice. It's a really tough space for us. But I get to the airport and literally 6 planes landed at one time and, 300 people from each plane. So there are literally 2,000 of us trying to get through this one bottleneck in the Charlotte airport. What happens? Well, we're all going to stop and we're all going to move at the same time. Markets are exactly the same way. And so we're going to watch this flow. What is the trend? Sideways. What is momentum? Down to flat. So what's going to happen? We're going to jam into resistance and people are going to try and make the pullback. Are we above the close of the prior day? Yes. Is it a zone that a lot of people have come in and tried to sell off of? Yes. Remember, we've got news at 10 o'clock. So what do we want to do? If we're above the close of the prior day, buyers are in charge. And so the first thing they're going to try and do is exhaust their move upward. Take a look at this. This is the high candle for the SPY. Not like the other futures markets showing the high candle in days past. This is the high candle. So breaking out of it is very likely to push us up into these high zones. Very, very likely, because it's acceptance of price, and everybody who bought here is now going to think, ooh, I'm going to get rewarded into the next resistance zone, which is anywhere from 531 to 533. If indeed we lose the 528.70, they're going to try to battle at the close of Friday, which is 528.22. And if they lose it, 525 first, and then 523. That's what I'm looking at. Let's take finally a look at the Qs, because I don't want to keep us together all day. Q, whoa, same thing, right? Wow, these ETFs don't look anything like the futures market. I find this to be very interesting. So where are we? Above the high of Friday, into the close of Thursday. Remember, that's the key resistance zone. Into the close of Thursday. The thing that's happening across the board is everybody's sitting at resistance right now. If we break higher, it is very likely to be a candlestick that will have heat on it, first to 456, then to 459, but then gives it up. Why? Because the moving average is flat, because momentum is negative. There is not a force pushing everyone in. What is the thought? If it fades into the close of Friday, which is quite far away from price now, that's 451 and some change, 451.60. If it comes into that zone, traders are going to try and lift. But the real line in the sand, to me, is the area near 449.60. That's sort of the halfway mark of this breakout formation. Gives us a lot of room to reckon with from a price perspective. And then, of course, below that is 443. I do not expect us to see these lows. I expect us to be in complete digestion today. Good luck trading. Watch your scale event and learn from the price action. Learn what it's doing. And by golly, if you don't look to the left, I know I said golly, sorry about that. If you don't look to the left, you are missing out in terms of key areas that price action can resolve, right? Take a look at this. It's right in the middle of our range. Hit it on the nose. Now, sometimes it doesn't hit it on the nose. If it fades and then recovers, you've still got your number. All right? Take care, everyone, and I'll see you on the platforms.